Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our lecture. I will ask everyone to mute, and after the lecture, we will have a short question answer period, so you'll be able to talk to our lecturer. And for now, let's just get going. Today, we're going to listen about effective pathways to reach and self-adaptation practices among Ukrainian refugees. This case study is based on the data of Georgia and Canada, as our presenter, Kateryna Ihnatenko, is now currently in Georgia at Ilia State University, and she also collects the data worldwide. So this speech will be focused on different strategies for survival, integration, and adaptation among Ukrainian refugees, including children, adults, and people with disabilities. Very quickly about the presenter, her name is Kateryna Ihnatenko. She's a Ph.D. and is an associate professor at the Department of Social Work and a lecturer at Luhansk Shevchenko National University. She is also a researcher at Ilia State University in Tbilisi, Georgia, and a fellow of the Marie Sklodowska-Curie Foundation MSCA4 Ukraine program. Wow, that was a lot of credentials, and we were very happy to have you here, Kateryna, now. So I'm giving the word to you, and we're listening. We're excited and listening. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Ms. Tatiana. Thank you very much, everyone, and good afternoon. And first of all, let me say thank you for coming here today, for having me today. And I'm extremely glad to be today's speaker, and thank you, my huge grateful Oseredok, Ukrainian Culture and Educational Center, for the opportunity to present this, for my opinion, interesting topic, anyway. And secondly, I apologize for my language difficulties, but I think I very hope for for support Tatiana, and if I stuck in my English, please give me your hand and helps me dealing with these difficulties. So honestly, friendly speaking, it was challenges. It will be challenges for me. But when we start like some negotiation for providing this session, I think that it's difficult because this very complicated topic, and my research during 2 years fellowship in Tbilisi, but I will try to do my best, and I think this is topic would be interesting for you if you're interested in some migration process, if you're refugee, or try to find some answer to questions for comparison and make some lesson learning regarding migration and adaptation process refugees in Georgia. Personally, I am to show also my experience living in Georgia. So let's start. As mentioned, Tatiana, I'm a PhD researcher, and I'm from Ukrainian, and I have lived in Georgia for 1 year in Tbilisi, and also I used and work as protection officer in several international organizations. So I am also faced with some firstly internal displacement issues, and then now we have more huge trouble as before 2014. Okay, I'm sharing my screen, and please, how you can see. Okay. So this topic, I repeat, effective pathways to reach and self-adaptation practices among Ukrainian refugees, case study of Canada and Georgia. Firstly, I wanted to ask you, right in chat, in our chat, why you're interested in this topic, or maybe you are a refugee, or oh, sorry, Tanya mentioned before that in Canada we have some another definition, or maybe you are belonging some diaspora, what which generation you belong in, the first diaspora, third, or you are newcomers. So please don't hesitate and write in chat. Because I think it will be interesting also to study the differentiation of self-adaptation practices after our main discussion. What will be covering today in 1 hour. Firstly, I will provide a research context and present the main needs and recent trends on the protection system for refugees. And I will discuss the practice of humanitarian assistance and the aid provided to Ukrainian refugees. And also, I will to overview some interviews results, status. Finally, I will address the current challenges for refugee and provide recommendations on how to manage them. We will also discuss your experience if it applicable. And after that, we will provide some Q&A session where you can give feedback and ask your question. Okay, let's have a closer look at some statistic at the beginning, and you can imagine some displacement pattern and demographics of Ukrainian refugees in Georgia. Georgia is small country, and you also can write in chat if you ever been in Georgia. Approximately 4 million citizens, and for this number, Georgia host around 25 Ukrainian refugees, and as according to the official data by UNHCR, this number remain and stay in Georgia, will be maybe during next year. What some also main patterns, it's of these 40,000 adult refugees and 63% female and 37 male. It's like also it's logical because female can cross border, but male have some
limitations.
Limitations, thank you. And also around 25% of Ukrainians staying are minors, and 65% adults are female, 9% are 60 years and old, and approximately 11% 70 or older, and 56% have been separated from family members. And also, I want to highlight this very important issue: healthcare services, because more than 24% of respondents reported having a household member with a severe and chronic illnesses. and also 7% say about some disability. And also around 6% it's pregnant woman. And next slide, we can compare some. Friendly speaking, Canada, it's does not my main research focus. So I found some statistical and we can compare. Okay, regarding socio-demographic patterns in Canada, the data below corresponding to the number of people who have arrived in Canada under the Canada-Ukrainian Authorization for Emergency Travel (QET) program between March 2022 and March 2024. 286,000, so it's a huge number because in Georgia we have only 25,000 refugees, but we call it migration. And also the age distribution is as follows: around 20% age under 18s, teenager, and 12% are 65 or older. In terms of household composition, 21% of households have no children, and 45 are couples with children, and 9% are non-parent families. So these insights underscore the varied needs of Ukrainian refugees in different host countries, and also highlighting the importance of different social support and integration policies. Okay, this short summary links the next slide, focusing on intervention types, approaches, and strategies for addressing the needs of refugees. The intervention can be categorized into several areas in different level, micro and micro level. So the first of all, the main needs, it's humanitarian aid, immediate relief, including food, shelter, and medical care, cash assistance, providing financial support for basic needs, education, advocacy training, programs aimed at integrating refugee into workforce, group intervention, delivering and mobilizing resources, delivering advocacy and social action, community organization. This means building and strengthening refugee communities, improving organization environments, and organizational change. And also interventions means some like promote, establish, resource, maintain, modify essential services and support system. This why we discuss about this intervention types, because it's the same interventions, actions for Canada and refugee. First of all, we should like provide some basic needs for migrants, and then on some micro practice include advocacy, social action, community organization, and so on. And some of this action more sufficiently, for example, in Canada, but for example, in Georgia, something doing wrong. And we have some gaps between social services providers. So priority needs of refugees from Ukraine in Georgia. In the first place, you can see affordable accommodation, food, healthcare, covering utility costs, clothing, and very interesting point that 36% respondents felt that they did not receive enough information about available assistance and services. And also respondents mention about some like psychological support. It's also very important. But you can imagine that during 2 years when start Russian full invasion in Ukraine, we have very urgent needs in Georgia, like food, medicine care, and accommodation. It's like highlighted or sign that some humanitarian support in Georgia not address these needs. Why? I say about it later. In our research, we use different method for study. We use semi-structured interview with members of civil society organization in Georgia and online questionnaire for Ukrainian migrants, and also we collect information from different information sources, and like say also conduct anthropological research, very briefly anthropologically. And we focused on the following research question. What are the gaps between services provided by humanitarian organization and the individual needs of refugees? What challenges to reach refugees have you faced in project? And in your opinion, what are the key factors that contribute to the successful integration of migrants, refugees from Ukraine, including persons with disabilities, into the local community? So in the analysis of the question about gaps between services provided by organization and individual needs, we get some answer, and yeah, the critical needs in social psychological support. Our respondents say that people need a psychologist because they have experienced a lot, but only few organizations provide psychological help in the Ukrainian language. In Georgia, we have official government language Georgian, but also around maybe 50% of citizens they are speaking Russian, and one of reason why Ukrainian prolonged to stay in Georgia, it's like they choose Georgia because it's easier because language, and in some usual daily routines they can like speak in Georgian in Russian. But when we say about some official and institution or search some job for Ukrainian, you should know Georgian language, but Georgian language very difficult for learning. And also the first time humanitarian organization faced with limitation and lack Ukrainian specialist. And now also regarding me and my experience, I often was triggered by like Russian speakers that provide some services, psychological and other workshop in Russian. But yeah, we have this one problem, and also huge gaps that estimate our participants that needs very actual needs of health services, hygiene, food, sanitary kits, and also basic nutrition needs for a woman with kids, because in Georgia these products very high have price yeah
Expensive, yeah.
expensive. And what challenges to reach people with disabilities? Next slide and next question. I think this is interesting question for the study, and results obtained from our respondents prove the fact that they are decreasing financial project for Ukrainian refugee compared to 2022. And also lack of coordination, lack of systematic database about refugees and people with disabilities and another vulnerable group. And of course, it's like if you say about volunteers, they are feeling some burnout, and also we have some very often changing members of team that provide helps. And the last but not the least question for discussion, in your opinion, what are the key factors that contribute to the successful integration of refugees from Ukraine into the local community? It's you can also to participate now discuss and say what do you think about this question. In your opinion, what are the key factors that contribute to the successful integration? Please, you can say oral and switch on your microphone, or write in our chat if you wish, if you want.
I would like to add, not on behalf of Oseredok, but on my personal one, because I'm also kind of a newcomer to Canada. I've been here for almost 2 years under this emergency travel channel, and as working as to Oseredok, we are the stronghold, the first point of contact for people who come, because they know that we are a Ukrainian center and they don't know what stands behind that. Because actually we are a museum and a gallery and the presentation space, but people come and ask for everything here. So I'd say that the most important for people to integrate into new community would be the language. Because when they cannot communicate, they cannot get so much of those things that they would probably have if they had the language, including jobs, including schooling for kids, including faster communication to get the things that they need, and doctor support, medical support, psychological support. And that's why actually we started as Oseredok almost 2 years ago, Ukrainian emergency classes for the newcomers that are very short in time, 9 weeks, but they give the people that boost of the knowledge, so they are available to swim in the new city, new world of that country on their own. So for me, the language is probably top one.
Yeah, I agree, totally agree with you. Maybe one more, some opinion. If you wish some add, you can write in chat. Yeah.
Okay, I can say. I can show my face as well.
Uh,
Hello, as it is very few of us, so I can say. I think that yes, I would agree that the language is a basic thing, and also another thing is understanding of institutional environment and how it works, how you mentioned schooling, medical care, and so on, and how to get children to school, where to go to organize your basic things, how to register if just the second thing after the language, knowing an institutional environment and not knowing all this networking and so on. I'm from Poland, and we have a lot of Ukrainian refugees now. And they are creating their own networks, and they support each other because there's a lot of them, so there are already organizations and so on, and these are basic two things that they do for themselves. I mean, teaching language and showing the institutional environment. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. Interesting point of view about some own Ukrainian networks that can help also dealing with some stress, trauma, like some informational hub. Yeah, we can some share experience or important useful number of phone and so on, but also like some psychological environments that can be when because we feel in some trauma, stress, we find as you are the same with nationality, religion, or other community. So let's look our answer. Of course, yeah, one very interesting answer from our respondents. There is need to integrate into Georgian society. Georgia is beautiful hub, but there are no conditions for those who want to stay here. It means that Georgia, government of Georgia provide very limited and insufficient financial support and other like limited access to medical health care services, and for some provide limit like activities for integration Ukrainian refugees. And also respondents said that if you want to stay here, ranging from places for employment, or do you need to get closer to the Ukrainian diaspora? But in Georgia, honestly speaking, Ukrainian diaspora not so huge, and if compare not have so history as Canada, it's like very young Ukrainian diaspora that was established maybe since 2014. And also, if you mentioned work and language barrier, various social activities also help with integration. Access, for social services for kids, for mothers, and for older people. Someone comes to get a food stamp, someone comes to talk. These respondents worked in some humanitarian point, and she mentioned that not only people coming not only for food, but for humanitarian aid, but also for like they find this, they want to link with each other, and systematic assistance. And yeah, like echo our question. You can see diagrams that shows that some of a number of our respondents, 27 from 114, say that they didn't receive any aid in Georgia, and also for second diagrams by right hand, you can see that lack of information also reason why person or individuals have not received this aid. And in Georgia, I want to conclude that if we compare government and non-government support that we called like a civil society organization, CCO or NGO, this sector more actively and more flexible react some and address needs of refugee, and also in Georgia present different types of this NGO, religion-based groups, people organization like grassroots volunteer organizations that establish like request of aid for refugees, community-based organization generally organized to directly address the immediate concerns of their members, and also some of them, for example, Unite Together or Ukrainian House, Sklodowska-Curie. This is Ukrainian non-government organizations that established by Ukrainian. Some of them established in 2022. For example, Sklodowska-Curie, this is youth organization that was established earlier 2017. And also the same in Canada, I think. International non-government organization is very huge geographic covering, like World Vision, UNFPA, People in Need, Save the Children, Caucasus, UNHCR, UNICEF. So you can see picture from a life of refugee or migration in Georgia. You can see some work of humanitarian points where people, huge crowded people who want to receive food or hygiene or something like that. And below you can see activities and workshops that provide, for example, Unite Together, this is workshops directly to help people and provide psychosocial support and other activities. We create some mandala or make other art therapy object. Case Canada, like some main of differentiation between Canada and Georgia. This is a very strong older generation diaspora members that support Ukrainian refugees, and also they engage in politician and social activism, lobby and influence the state apparatus, shifting individual burdens to the host state. And also, but correct me if I'm wrong, Tiana, you know more than I. And also some features. Canada is new migrants and temporary workers who actively remit money back to Ukraine, supporting both their families and broader economy, and also complementary forms of engagement during the crisis, mobilization of aid, politician activism, and volunteering. The same in Georgia, but not political activism, unfortunately, because now in Georgia we have Georgia has a pro-Russian government. It's also like one of the obstacles, and for like and also this is risk, future risk for Ukrainian who stay in Georgia. And yeah, you can also add something if you want about Canada, please don't hesitate. No.
I would strongly agree that the older generation diaspora really takes the lead, and they help with at so many levels, lobbying in the parliament, interest, and even now, like not even for the refugees, but the help of Ukraine in general. And for the refugees, they set up the points of contact, and volunteering is something that is completely unbelievably great in Canada, because people are ready to dedicate their time, resources just for the case. And all the accepting process for the Ukrainian newcomers was, I'd say, at least 80% based on the work and support from the refugees, from the volunteers. Sorry, from like volunteers just moved all the machine around. That was really great.
Yeah, it's great because in Georgia we also have very friendly environment, but not from diaspora from Georgia. Many of them very supportively and friendly regarding Ukrainian, and strong support, because they are also like faced with the same experience when Russia aggression started in 1991 and then 2808, and also Georgia lost 20% of territories. So, and if you come to and visit Tbilisi, you can see many Ukrainian flags and like some very understandable, like calling Putin and so on. Yeah, but unfortunately, this is not sufficient, because it's only like crossroads supporting, but not from government. Okay, so like very briefly, because we have limitation of time and I overtake this time, but previous my speech and findings were about like more general and micro level, but I want to show like my individual, not only my, but individual experience as migrants, and one of this huge number Ukrainian who should cross border and fled because of the war. This is adaptation problems for refugees, and dealing with ambiguous loss, trauma, and resilience, like building this resilience. Ambiguous loss is inherently traumatic, because an inability to resolve the situation causes pain, confusion, shock, distress, and often immobilization. Without closure, the trauma of this unique kind of loss becomes chronic. To understand the trauma of ambiguous loss, it is helpful to recognize the distress or more ordinary loss. So when we lose our homeland and separate from relatives, and also as migrants or as refugee, should adaptation and feeling some situation uncertain, living in a certain situation, it's not only very visual problem, like in Sonitsa or change a visible change in body or health, but it's also like some problem that накаплюється, як то сказати англійською.
That sum up together. Yes.
Sum up together, yeah. And also most people cannot tolerate for long the feeling of being in a situation that is outside of their control. The intellectual and relation uncertainty of living with someone both here and not here produces a terrible anxiety of bizarre human experience. So you can also read it in book Paul, Loss, Trauma and Resilience. And one of this loss is loss of identity. It's very important also because migrants and refugees, they are middle on this, they are no longer needed in our community and have not yet been fully accepted in another community. In case in Georgia, it's it's also we can feel in it, but if I mentioned before, because language more or less the same, so it's not so huge, but culture and history differences also like provide this loss of identity. Borderline marginality when is no longer yours and not yet yours, lack of support from the local community administration. Well, local authorities do not always want to make such contacts, or they do not fully want to make such contacts. They say, who are you? What are you? Definitely we are adding new troubles. And also one of these obstacles, psychological factors that influence for migrants in situation goodbye. Many of Ukrainians should and have to live in a homeland, town where, city where they are living during all time without some ability to say goodbye, like in informal, but like also this like process of losing, process of crying and so on. They could affect your personally or occur elsewhere, but cause significant feelings of loss in your life. This could include the COVID pandemic, a change in future plans, natural disaster, political unrest, or loss of financial personal security. And maybe the last but not the least slide, I want to share some not recommendation but suggestion, as concluding of our result concerning our study. We can suggest that very important community-based like support, and you can ask help from other Ukrainians or services who provide psychological aid, but also you can like help themselves identify your loss, recognize multiply emotions, don't compare, consider ceremonies. For example, when I moved to Tbilisi with my son, he is 11 years, very important was for me to find school for him, for his, and like establish this network with Ukrainian and find shops, find medicine, some hospital or and other services that provides like beauty services, and these ceremonials help routine, daily routine activities help me to dealing with losing control, seek support, and dealing with change, because change is an inevitable part of human condition. Unexpected things happen. Many of us, refugees, deal with change. Some of them better, some of them worse, badly. We need also to develop strategies for coping with the emotional effects of change. And also I want to ask you, what strategies are used to adopt by new reality? Because I can realize that we have, you have some experience when you change something, and this situation provoked some anxiety, stress, and so on. But in what ways do you deal with feelings and change behavior to protect yourself and sufficiently adapt to uncertain world? Please, in conclusion, summarize. If you want, you can share your experience. Okay, I think it's also like we have individual approach to deal with some difficulties, life difficulties. Some of one can go to the psychotherapist. Some of one can work and self develop some this resilience that can help us to overcome any difficulties. In Ukrainian, we have very strong resilience. It's help us. So be brave and never give up. And also, like conclusion, I want to share my acknowledgements. My project, MSC for Ukraine project, which founds European Unions, my host university, Ilia State University, and one more, Oseredok as Culture Center for Ukrainian. And thank you very much for your attention. And now